Good evening. This is the November 19th, 2012 Subcommittee on Economic Development. Can we all rise and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'm Tony Zambuto. I'm the chairman of the Economic Development Committee. Committee members are Councilors Arrigo, Correggio, Patch, and Powers. So I believe we have a quorum. We're here tonight to discuss the possibilities of a tax increment financing agreement with the developers of the proposed market basket at Northgate Shopping Center. So I believe we have the economic development czar. Do you want to speak first, or do you want? Do you like the term czar? Our Director of Economic Development, John Festa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the Council, I'm here tonight to come in support of this tax increment financing agreement. We feel very strongly it really fits in our economic development strategy of trying to bring in businesses within our community. We are trying to be very, very aggressive in getting businesses to come to the city of Revere that are good quality businesses. We feel that this is one. We feel that this is going to help bring numerous jobs into the city of Revere, and we truly feel that this is something that will be a stepping stone for further development in that area. One of the things that we've been focusing in on is matter of fact, in our Economic Development Summit was the Northgate Shopping Center area. And we just feel very, very strongly that this entity coming in, it's a win-win. We feel that not only with jobs, but we feel that a business like this will employ 200 to 250 contracting jobs, 400 jobs permanently. It's just something that we feel is very, very positive. By having something of this nature on this tax increment financing agreement, we feel like we're on the same level playing field as other communities. I think I stated in the past that that other communities have done numerous tax increment financing deals. This is something that I think we're showing the business community that we welcome you if it's the entity that we feel that would be positive for the city of Revere. And we think, bottom line, that this is be very positive for the citizens of Revere. I know, talking to numerous people within our community, very, very excited to have an entity like a Market Basket possibly coming here. So this is one stepping stone that we feel that, A, we're going out and being aggressive in our approach to try to have an entity like this come to the city, and we're going to continue doing that. So I just wanted to come up today to really strongly support this endeavor, and I know that the city solicitor and I are here to answer some questions that you may have, but we're going to continue being proactive, and I'm hopefully this is not the last one that we're going to have, and we just think that the terms are very, very good and very positive for the city and the people of the city of Revere. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Here's how this is going to work tonight. I'm going to start by having the city clerk read this TIF agreement, if that's agreeable to everybody. Yeah, is that okay? We only have a half hour? Okay. All right, here's what we're going to do. We've changed the plans now. We're not going to read it here tonight live, but the city clerk will put this online on the City Council's webpage. This way everybody can see this TIF agreement. What's going to happen here, we're going to discuss this at length this evening. It's going to remain in this committee until the next City Council meeting, which I believe is the 2nd of December. December 3rd, I apologize. We're going to have an economic development meeting at that meeting where the final draft that everybody has marked up and put whatever things they felt weren't in that needed to be in, or remove things that they didn't think should be in. We'll all come to an agreement at that meeting. Hopefully, those of us who favor tax increment finance agreements, and we certainly want more than this one agreement in the future, it's the way for economic development. I think Chelsea's got hundreds, And so the bottom line is that we'll all come to an agreement at that meeting, vote it out favorably to the city council, that's hopefully favorably, and the city council will approve it. So that's the timeline on this, and I just want to make everybody aware of that. And I'm going to call on committee members first, and then other members. I should mention that the committee members that are here are Councilor Correggio and Councilor Patch. We also have Council President Penta, who's obviously a committee member of every committee, and Councilor Granasso and Councilor Ira Novoselsky, and I now see Councilor Bob Hass walking in the chamber. So those are the people that are here tonight, and I'll call on Councilor Correggio first.
Thank you, Chairman Zambudo. Just a couple of questions to John Festa about the TIF agreement. Basically, I welcome Market Basket to the city of Revere. It's a long time coming. We need development like that for the city of Revere, and it's going to employ a lot of people and give a lot of construction jobs. Two basic questions. One basic question would be is priority be given to Revere residents to work on the construction jobs and also the jobs in the Market Basket itself, and also union labor. I mean, I've been some union leaders have approached me, and so I told them I would speak a little bit to try to help them out, whether it be the laborers, the iron workers. So where do we stand with union labor? And also Revere residents be given priority.
In section 3, under section B, under the conditions, it focuses in on Revere residents, giving them the opportunity, first and foremost, to be hired at this site. We look at it, the administration looks at it. I'm going to have the city solicitor answer the question pertaining to unions. Our goal, obviously, is, and we project this not only with this particular development, but with other developments as well, is that we would like to see union workers at this particular location. We want to hire Revere residents, obviously. This is the goal of the administration, not only in this, but in other areas as well. I'm going to and I know in the paragraph for Revere residents, there's definitely going to be an opportunity. As far as the union issues, I'm going to defer that to the city solicitor.
As I understand your question, Councilor, and good afternoon, you want to know if this agreement will specifically, and maybe I'm wrong, you can correct me, require that only union employers, only union workers be hired? Is that the question?
The question is some union labor. I know
Okay.
we can't force anybody to use union labor, but respectfully request if union labor can be utilized on the construction.
I can tell you that the language as written doesn't preclude the hiring of union labor, but that the language requires that the developer use their best efforts to use local, and I'll quote you right from the thing, to use local contractors, vendors, and suppliers. So though I can't speak to what that means or who those are, my sense is if they're union shops and they're qualified, they'll have just as much equal chance to get the position as the non-union shops. But that's just speaking from the language. I don't know what the real world has in terms of this agreement, has to provide in terms of this agreement.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Correggio. Councilor Patch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As far as the way I've always stood is that I've been very consistent with bringing commercial property into the city because unfortunately they get croaked on commercial taxes. So, but it does help keep our residential tax down. And as far as bringing this particular TIF for the Market Basket, I've gotten nothing but calls on support of Market Basket coming to Revere. As a matter of fact, most of the people that do call me, they do their shopping in Chelsea at Market Basket. Stop and Shop's been a good neighbor, but again, the more commercial property we get in Revere. Competition is always good. It's good for the consumer. So therefore, I'm going to support this. I'm going to support this TIF. It's been very successful for, as we know, for Chelsea. Their commercial base over there has increased tremendously since they started giving out these TIFs. So we have to compete. So basically, that's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Patch. Council President Penta.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this was presented to us 2 weeks ago at the previous council meeting, and it was just basically the percentage of tax deductions break for a TIF that they would get, and we asked to have, more definitive agreement put together with such as local residents at work, and this, I'm not sure who put this together, but I went through this very quickly. It protects the city pretty well. And like I said, we could add some stuff in this over the next couple of weeks, which is fine. But usually, when you're giving away something to the cities, which we're giving taxpayers' dollars away, you think long and hard about it. And I have thought long and hard about this because, it was always said, and people would stop in the street, the mullahs is coming to Revere. Market basket. It was never really the truth. There was rumors that they were coming to Revere, and there was a deal being made with the landowner of this property, and basically they wanted for X amount of dollars. And the agreement was that if the owner of the property got a TIF, they could reduce their rent to Market Basket to come here. So right now, Market Basket is not coming here unless this is approved. And I look at the whole picture. With Market Basket coming down there, I'm sure it's great for the property owner, but I think it's great for the citizens of Revere. They have a product that they're looking to go shop for instead of going to another city or town to do it. Second of all, if you look at the whole picture, that area down there, and we've all lived in Revere quite a long time, how many things have gone and came? Quite a few down there. You really need an anchor store there to enhance traffic down there to build up other businesses that will stay in business and bring even better business down there. And I see that happening with this. So, I think we really got to put our heads together and get this thing done for the citizens of Revere, for the taxpayers of Revere. Even though we'll give them a break, in the long run, this is going to bring more tax revenue to the city than not having this there. Because what else it's going to bring? And you have to have that vision for what it's going to bring. Because, you hear... There it is. Something will go in there. With the mullahs next door bringing all this traffic, people look to Faneuil Hall, for example. Millions of people go there a year. Why are the rent so high? Because they're bringing the people into them. They don't have to advertise to go get them. And I think this is going to happen down there. In the Revere jobs, you're looking at possibly 300 to 400 Revere people going to work. And people could be second jobs, could be, Revere people need jobs. We know across the whole state and everything else, but we want to take care of Revere people. And I think everybody up here, and I commend the people doing the job that they have in here, local residents to put to work. So, there's a lot of positives with this. I'm hoping it gets done. I think in good faith they stepped forward over the last 2 weeks, put something together. I know the mayor was involved with this. So I think it's a positive all around. And I know you said you're going to take this up at the next meeting. And I hope everybody votes in favor of it because I don't see any really negatives with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me just say before I call on the rest of my colleagues that I'm certainly a TIF cheerleader. I always have been. I know that we need to give incentives to bring companies like Market Basket to the city. Now, the reason I'm excited about offering a TIF to Market Basket is because of what it will do to that neighborhood, that area. It will revitalize that mall. It will be the anchor store, and that's why they're being I dare say they wouldn't be offered a TIF if that wasn't the case. That's what TIFs are used for, and we want the jobs, but more importantly, we want to revitalize that area. We want to turn that into a premier mall with an anchor store like a Market Basket. So that being said, the key point about leaving this on the table for a little while is what Ashley, the city clerk, said. We're going to put this online in the sunlight of everybody can look at this TIF agreement, so there won't be any of the stuff that we've had in the past with TIFs that people said it was a special deal and was done underhandedly. We want everything to have the daylight shown upon it, the sunlight shown upon it, and that's what this is going to do. So although I could conceivably vote for this TIF tonight because it's got pretty much everything I want in there, I think we need to do that for the taxpayers, for the citizens, to show that we're doing things above board here, and I welcome any comments. So now I'll call on Councilor Guanasso.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Over and beyond the employment opportunity that Market Basket presents to the city of Revere, the most important product is that the savings that will be passed on to the consumer are our residents. And so the residents are openly seeking such relief. Right now they have a couple of shopping areas within the community, but they're priced at the highest level. And I refer to Stop and Shop by name. And when you go in and see the product, the same product for sale at Market Basket at maybe 30, 40 cents cheaper, that's a lot of savings to a consumer, and that's a lot of savings that we pass on to our citizens and our residents of our community. So coupled with the two factors, employment, and we have to be steadfast on that, any people seeking employment that are capably qualified for a position should be recognized first. As you know, when you go in other areas of the business world, they say, well, you have to be a veteran, you have to be this, you have to be that. Well, I think there's nothing wrong with saying that the first thing a place of business should be a Revere resident, if they're qualified, and hopefully they will be. But again, I've received some comments from people that are very anxious for this business to take place and to come into our community, and it's always mentioned the fact that the most successful Market Basket is located in Chelsea. So in order to give some incentive for them to locate another Market Basket in such a short radius, we have to give incentive for them to be here. And I think there's going to be, once they get here, they will realize there's a great opportunity here, because we do have a centrally located area. We're a regional trafficked area, meaning that everybody going through Squire Road has to go by Market Basket, and they're all going on to Saugus, they're going to Peabody and Danvers and all these places, and how convenient it would be for them to shop at this location. So I, for one, it's a win-win for everybody, because I think the location in itself is fantastic. I think it's just a great spot, and you saw what just a little bit of new business in that area is already generated. ShopRite doesn't have the quality I would like to have, but with this Market Basket in there, this is gonna blow out everywhere. I just think this is a market genius idea. I think it's a win for Revere, and it's certainly a win for Market Basket. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Guanasso. Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, right off the bat, I'll say, I am for this, and I've said it right from the beginning when I was contacted. I do have some questions regarding the package that we got this afternoon that we really couldn't absorb, so I'm glad it's going to continue on at least for another couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll get this done. The first meeting in December, is that what it is? Okay. The question I had, the first one is to the applicant. Do we expect that you'll be available to open by July 1st of 13?
Councilor, my name is David Sweetser.
and I'm the manager of the LLC that owns the property in question. The physical plant will be ready in the early summer of 2013. I cannot speak for Market Basket as to when they will open it, but I have never seen a retailer have a facility ready to open and not open as soon as possible. I can assure you the rent will begin, so I got to believe that they will open as soon as they are physically able to open. But I can't dictate when they will open the store, but the store will be ready to be opened in early summer 13, yes.
So just for clarification, this TIF is for the landowner and not the occupant?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. It would be for basically
For yourself.
myself.
Right, okay. I know you can't speak for Demoulas itself, which I know everybody has been raving and in anticipation of it coming, and I told them it's not going to happen tomorrow. But, I would hope that you encourage, when you talk to the folks from Demoulas, that, just like a lot of the other stores, that we have community participation. I know we look for activity from the store owners and to help different organizations in the city. I know it's a vital part of our city operation, for our needy folks and to help raise funds in the city. So I hope that's instilled in there.
I can assure you that they are terrific corporate neighbors, and they're good citizens, corporate citizens of the cities and towns that they're in today. And although none of us can predict the future, certainly if they act the way they act in other cities and towns, I think you'll be proud to have them as a civic partner.
Good, thank you. And regarding the unions, and I agree with Councilor Correggio that we just want to give them the opportunity, try and bid. I don't know what's going on now with the construction.
If you would like, I could give you an update if that would be of benefit.
That would be
Go
excellent.
right ahead.
Please.
There have been 4 contracts, contrary to when I was here before you last, when there were 3 contracts. There have been 4 contracts let now. I gave you bad information last time I was with you. I said that there were 3 contracts let, and all 3 were union contractors. That's a mistake. 3 contracts were let. 2 were union contractors, but the one that was non-union has hired 100% union operators to operate their equipment. So although they themselves are non-union, the operators who are working on the site, 100% of them are union. So in essence, it's 100% of the employees were working, but the actual contractor themselves was non-union. They have now let a 4th contract, and that is for the precast wall panels that will be erected, and that went to a union contractor. So out of the 4 contracts, 3 were union contractors, and the 4th one used union operators on their equipment. The iron workers will begin. The iron is to be delivered, I believe, the end of next week. I know that's Thanksgiving, so next week, I apologize. Thursday or Friday of next week. And Local 7 will be actively at work when the steel arrives. So I can't promise it will be 100% throughout the entire contract, but I can tell you the track record of the general contractor is pretty positive.
Well, I think that we're all, I hate to step on you for a second here. We're all in favor of using union contractors when we can, when it's competitive. And we obviously want them to have a chance to be competitive. Most of these jobs are all in the same league, prevailing wage. It's pretty easy to be competitive. What's more important to me is Revere residents. I think that your track record shows that you've got almost 100% union participation. So that's fine. What more important to me is that we see Revere residents both on the construction jobs, and obviously you can't speak for Market Basket, but I'll let them know the same thing, that we're interested in Revere residents going to work here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Took the words right out of my mouth because that was one of my targets. That's okay, but I don't know who wrote this, but just a tweak, and I don't know, it says in conditions B, item number 3, to cooperate with the Revere Office of the Mass Department of Employment and Training and other agencies. I didn't know we had an office of the unemployment office in Revere. So I don't know if that's appropriate to put in there, Mr.
I'm sorry. There's a reference here to a town manager, there's a reference here to
Right,
some,
and that was
it was a format, my guess is they just didn't tweak the
Okay.
final.
And that
yeah.
will be tweaked?
Yeah, we caught that, and I put that on, I'm sorry, I should have
Okay.
warned you before you read
Yeah,
it, but.
because actually, section C, number 2, had the city manager in there, so.
Right,
it's-
the city
yeah.
manager, I thought there was also a reference, and I could be wrong, to the selectmen or something, yeah, it's from Chelsea's.
Okay. I think the last question I had, I know we got percentages in item number 3 in section A, but I refer back to the piece we got the last time we met, that the numbers sheet.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I just want to confirm that column 2, where it says municipal tax rate per thousand isn't the same every single year down through those 10 years. It's whatever the rate is at that time.
Correct. But I needed to make an assumption so that
Okay.
I could use, as I extrapolate out the 10 years,
Okay,
for us to use an approximate. Sometimes you can get caught up in the numbers are down the road, and people think perhaps you were trying to be less than honest. So
and again, I just wanted that up front, so we know that's not the tax rate that's actually going to be, it's whatever the tax rate is that particular
Right.
year.
If I could, Counselor, to go
Sure.
back to one of your questions about the employment, to demonstrate, and again, this is from Market Basket, not myself. I'm not affiliated with Market Basket. Market Basket has agreed, and they have done this on a limited basis, but they have agreed to do it in Revere. They will set up a workshop inside your high school if you authorize them to do that, and this may come under the superintendent's purview perhaps, but if afforded the chance, they will set up a workshop inside the high school to hire the Revere students. Now, again, this would be on the younger side of the age spectrum, of course, but I think that the fact that they would be willing to do that, I hope demonstrates that they are looking for the Revere employee. I don't know why people would not want them to set up, but if that's the case, then they will not set up. But they're giving the Revere personnel the opportunity to have them set up for a work fair.
That's excellent.
And then, in addition, I can tell you that their most recent store that they opened was in West Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and I inquired about their employment practice in West Bridgewater. Between Bridgewater and West Bridgewater, now those are two different towns. It's not a section of Bridgewater, two different towns. In those two towns, they hired 90% of their workforce. So it's clearly in their interest to have as high a number from 1 to 2 to 3 miles away than it would be to hire perhaps in a different community where, particularly with inclement weather, you may have more absentee or tardiness, which would be a problem operationally. So I think logically speaking, but also in practice, I think they put their money where their mouth is on employment.
Mr. Chairman, just to close out, I
Go
think
ahead.
that's terrific. I appreciate it. I'm sure everybody else appreciates hearing that, because that is our target, to take care of our Revere folks.
Yeah.
And, I think that's a good start. So
Thank
thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Novoselsky. Before I call on Council Haas, I just want to mention that Council Reardon has entered the chamber. Council Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the first time I've been involved with a TIF for the city of Revere. When I was mayor, we had 3 Super Stop and Shops come into Revere with no tax concessions. It was basically they pay whatever the prevailing rate would be. Things have changed since then. We look at one of the Stop and Shops at Wonderland has ceased its operation. Also, Heisel Manufacturing, one of my clients when I was selling my farms, they have ceased and sold their operation. So you can see Revere, we have to fill these vacancies because they're long-established companies that have been working in Revere. I just received this TIF agreement this afternoon via email, and I have a couple of basic questions with it, And I don't know if I should ask John, would that be, okay, John, I have a couple, what is the total cost of this project? Is that the 11 million one? Okay, and where does the 4.7 million come into play? Is that what we're going to use our basis? On page 1, second paragraph from the bottom, whereas the assessed valuation of the facility for the only for that 1 year. And then when it's done, it will eventually get up to 11 million plus, okay? And the TIF agreement will go for 10 years at $100,000 per year for 10 years. What will be the net to the city of Revere as far as tax revenue? Do you have those computed yet?
What it does, Council, it hasn't been computed as of yet. I can
Okay.
get you that figure. I don't want to give you the wrong figure on that.
Right.
But obviously, like, we looked at other communities and what other communities have done, very similar to this. That's, as you can tell by the structure of the agreement,
Exactly.
that we felt that based upon, there was a lot of site preparation that was done on that site that was not known. So because of the conditions that were down there, and because of the normal length of the TIF, which is 10 years, you can go a little bit longer than that. Some have done a little bit shorter than that, but 10 years is basically the norm. We had a, like I said, we had to accrue that based upon the 10 years. So to give you I can get you the exact figure to answer your question, but this is a pretty standard type of agreement done in a lot of other communities.
Okay, I'd like to find out what the net would be
Absolutely.
for the 10 years. We know we're going to give them a concession of $1 million per year.
Yep.
But I don't think people realize out there that they've already expended approximately $800,000 in doing a new system underneath their building.
That's correct. You're absolutely correct. There's so much cost that was already expended by the developer to get it up to par, and in order to do that, and to be able to look at an analysis of other communities, we wanted to structure it, and the administration wanted to structure it appropriately so that, quite honestly, we want them to come in. We want to be aggressive in having them come in. We don't want to give away the store either. So there's a balanced approach, and we felt that this was a very prudent type of agreement.
Yeah, I just want to make sure the taxpayers in Revere realize we are giving them a credit, but in return, they're doing something that the city of Revere would be responsible for doing.
Well, what's on the final page here, not to interrupt you, but what's on the final page of this TIF agreement? Isn't that,
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
aren't those the numbers he's looking for?
Mr. President, point of information. Point of information.
State your point, Mr. President.
I believe the council stated $1 million a year, which it's $100,000 a year for 10 years.
Yeah, it's $1 million
Total cost of
total.
$1 million.
Yeah.
He is correct that the expenditure that they had spent just to put this building there, there was a building there
Right.
that was torn down. In order to put the building back, they had to remove a sewer line that was there at a substantial cost, and I think that's what he's getting at.
Exactly.
So in reality, they're really not
It's a
getting as
trade-
much as people think.
It's basically a trade-off, Mr. Chairman.
I agree.
We are giving them a credit of $100,000.
For the work they did, yeah.
But for all the work they've done. Now, if they did not come in to do it, the city of Revere would be responsible for that.
For the drain line,
For the drainage,
absolutely,
so-
absolutely.
You're going to pay it either one way or another, but looking at the facility that's coming in, I think it's a major asset for the area.
Absolutely.
It's going to take a shopping center that's been trying to be reborn year after year, and I'm sure the spin-off effect will be absolutely tremendous. And I don't want to get into union help because we've spoken about that. They know where we're coming from as far as union sports. Based on the facts, and I haven't read the document, based on what I know at this present time, I think it's a great investment that Revere will take it on, and I think it will move the city to another level as far as investments, without question.
Councilor, I just wanted to answer the question that you had, and I wanted to be 100% accurate. The TIF is for 10 years at $100,000, so obviously it's $1 million. The city would be taking in roughly almost 1.8 million. It's $1,779,558. So there's an increment of $609,000, which is pretty substantial.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's over the life. So we're giving away 100, and we're getting back in the aggregate of it in the first year, $148,000.
That's correct.
Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I don't believe I have any other questions. I want to look at this TIF agreement in more detail to make sure we all collectively know what we're signing. Because this, as I indicated, Mr. Chairman, this is my first TIF agreement, and the other one, we don't want to get involved.
I'll do that other one again right now. Our highest taxpayer you're talking about? Is that what you're talking about? Highest taxpayer in the city?
Presently,
Yeah, oh, good. Okay, so I'll do another TIF anywhere that matches that. Councilor Reardon, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Well, in spirit, I kind of agree with the Councilor Hassett that given the fact that we just got this today, I think it does bear a couple of weeks of review. As I recall, our last discussion about the previous TIF that you mentioned, that which I agree is a beneficial agreement, one thing that we discussed was how it was inadequately drafted. That's a concern of mine.
If I can interrupt you for a second. Before you got here, I stated that this was going to stay in committee. It's going to be online starting tomorrow, so all the citizens can look at this TIF agreement. And this is completely in the sunlight of transparency. And everybody's going to be very aware of this TIF before it's voted on. Now you can continue.
As poorly as you are a predictor of elections, you are a great, wise administrator. I'll have to say that. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I believe on that note and that sarcasm of my liberal friend over there, we're going to end this Economic Development Committee meeting. And all I can say is God bless the United States of America.